Welcome to the Beyond the Build podcast, where we explore the inspiring stories of everyday people from all walks of life who prioritize fitness and healthy living despite their unique backgrounds and challenges. Through honest conversations about their upbringing, personal growth, and their relationship with food, each episode aims to eliminate excuses and empower listeners to take ownership of their health by showing that someone just like them is already doing it. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share it with someone who can find value in it. And with that, sit back and enjoy the show. Okay, y'all, I know I say this for every single episode, but I'm so excited for this one. This is my buddy Marcus here, also in Arizona, same as me. He's got a really interesting story, and I also say that every time, but everybody's got an interesting story. So, I'm just glad that I have the opportunity to share these stories with all of you. He had a very active background, grew up playing several sports, including track and field was the main one. He actually placed in the Junior Olympics and for some specific reasons did not get to go on to the Olympics, but it ended up working out because the timing allowed him to go into the Marine Corps, where he served 2 tours overseas. So definitely grateful for his service. Right now, he's actually, as we recorded that episode, he was about a week out from his bodybuilding competition that he had been training for. He also does competitive dance. He has won national championships for ballroom dance, and it was just really cool getting to know him. So with that, let's get into the show. All right. Well, we are back. This is episode 10, I believe. And today we have special guest Marcus Brown coming in. You're in the Phoenix area too, right?
Absolutely. Yep. In the Phoenix area, Gilbert more specifically for my Phoenicians out there.
Yep. Awesome. I'm slowly building out my in-person studio. I'm going to have in-person guests here as well. That'll be kind of exciting. But yeah, we'll have to connect sometime in person after this.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm just in Chandler. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we know each other through a mutual friend, Manya, and you guys, you do dance together. Is that right?
Yeah, we do dance together. So probably we've been going maybe about a year and a half, year and 4 months, somewhere in there. Down here at the Gilbert studio, Faz Gilbert. So we ended up kind of just meeting there and just kind of mutually danced together. It turned out she was into fitness as well and dancing. So again, she's like, "Hey, I think you should, meet up with him and, jump on his podcast and go from there." So I was like, "Yep, absolutely." So yeah. How do you know her?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've known her since back in Oregon. We both used to live back in Oregon. We met through some mutual friends and kind of ended up moving around to the same spot. So yeah, been a little bit.
Yeah,
But,
it's been good, man. And we are hopefully going to come up with some routines here. So that's
yeah,
in the future coming. So hopefully we can present that to you guys and bring that to the audience here as well.
definitely. Now, so tell me about that. You guys are going to be starting like competing and I'm not really familiar with like the scene and what that looks like.
Yeah, so we're at like I said, the Fred Astaire Studios,
Mm,
and we both have instructors.
right.
And basically, with those instructors, we go through different routines, whether that's something like cha-cha rumba swing, waltz tango foxtrot, samba, mambo, things like that. So just kind of whatever you want to get into. I've kind of done more of the American rhythm route. She's kind of done more of the international. So we've done that. We've competed in various shows together. I don't think really against each other, just because we're doing kind of different areas.
Yeah.
We've both done showcases and things like that. One of the bigger ones is Dance Fusion, where you can kind of come up with a routine and kind of whatever you want to do, put it together. You get it choreographed and you go out on a big stage and you dance. So that
Wow.
one's not really a competition, but more just theater, just
Yeah.
presenting
Yeah.
something and just going out there and having fun. The competitions are definitely more intense,
Mm,
looking to get medals and trophies and things like that. So everybody's on their A game. So
yeah.
yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah. How long you been doing dance for?
So with Fred Astaire Studios, like I said, about a year, 6 months now.
Okay.
I've always loved dance. Kind of started off as a kid doing a little break dancing and hip hop and stuff
Okay.
like
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
nothing really serious, but just doing some fun stuff. And then kind of jumped into Fred Astaire because I wanted to learn how to salsa. So that's what kind of brought me in.
Yeah. That's awesome. I wish I knew how to do any form of dancing, but
Hey, the studio is always open. You can
yeah.
always come on in.
Yeah. That's sweet. And that's cool that you kind of just went for it, made that jump. Now, Mon, you mentioned you're also doing, I think, like prepping for like a bodybuilding show or something like that.
Yeah, so I have the Scorcher coming up in Phoenix.
Okay.
And basically it's a natural bodybuilding show coming up here this Saturday.
Oh,
So
really?
kind of, yeah, low on my carbs here. So I
Yeah.
gotta
Last
kind of make sure
stretch.
yeah, the midsection is good to go. But yeah, so it's my second bodybuilding show. Wasn't sure I was gonna do it this year, but I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna shoot a goal. It was
Yeah.
such a positive environment. The last one that I did that I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's just go for it.
That's awesome. Wow. Do you have like compared to last year, do you have a certain like goal that you're shooting for to 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 improve from last year or
Yeah, and this is probably a vanilla answer, but I mean it's the honest truth. I needed to improve on everything because
no.
I have always been like heavy into fitness, like doing fitness things, activities, but not
Yeah.
really set at, like a bodybuilding
Yeah.
standard.
It's
So
another level.
yeah, I thought I can just, yeah, I'll come in and
No, like, yeah,
I'll
I'm
be all
fit.
right.
Yeah. I feel
I'm in
good.
shape,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can come in and do this. And I was not prepared for what was ahead of me at that time. So
Uh,
I mean, at that time, I really wasn't tracking anything. I was kind of just eating healthy. So I really focused on nutrition, really focused on, how many sets I was doing in the gym, focused on my rest, made sure I was actually having strength with the growing. So there's
uh,
a lot of things that took place from last time to this time. And even though I weigh less, I certainly look a whole lot better. So, I mean, you can definitely tell the difference.
yeah. Is it just like you're more leaned out and stuff and
Yeah,
just more
definitely more
sculpted?
leaned out, way more cut.
Uh,
You can definitely see the peaks and the dips just a little bit more.
yeah.
Whereas before, yeah, it was there, but it wasn't as defined.
Mm,
And I was like, man, I could definitely do better.
yeah. That makes sense. I mean, it's your first show. You're kind of just going in. I've thought about doing a show potentially, maybe next year, to hit you up for some tips.
Yeah.
How is the show here? I know there's like different sizes. Some of them are like huge, and some of them are smaller stages. How's the one here?
Yes. So, well, the first one in Tucson, that was a small one, and that was really, I want to say maybe only 50 people, for the whole
Okay.
entire show. Still a good show nonetheless, but
Yeah,
compared
yeah.
to this one, the Scorcher, I think there was 120 people that registered between the men and women. This is also pro and amateur.
Mm,
There's a cash prize for the pros who win. So it's a pretty big event. A lot of people are stoked and psyched about it. So
yeah.
everything is time and place, like as far as your tanning, the
Mm,
polygraph you got to take, and everything, you have to be at the right place at the right time.
right. Yeah. Do you know who Will Tennyson is
I do
on
not
YouTube?
know.
Okay. Yeah. He's like a fitness YouTuber. He's up in Canada, I believe, but he just documented his entire like bodybuilding process and he showed like the polygraph test and like the tanning, so everything you're talking about. And it's just like, oh my gosh, there's so much behind the scenes, getting ready
Yeah.
for the stage, everybody like getting pumped up before they go on the stage and like the supportive environment. It seems like really a really cool positive environment.
Yeah, I will tell you that right there is the reason why I did decide to do it a second time.
Mm,
The environment is 1,000% just so positive. Everybody is just so happy that they made it to the end. It's like, man,
Yeah.
we are
You
here.
made it.
We have arrived, and let me tell you, the freaking cakes and treats and all the crap that they have backstage. I want to
Oh,
just
yeah.
just like, yes, I get to
Yeah.
finally indulge. Yeah.
Yeah, like, let me do my thing, and then I'll get off the stage and just eat
And
all the
just
cake, everything.
you can enjoy it, man. Because again, like I said, everybody's happy. They made it there. They've died. They've done everything that they needed to do. So, I
Yeah.
mean, people are just yelling. They can't take it away from you. Everybody enjoyed on stage. So it's just a good environment, man. It's just
Oh,
so
that's
fun.
awesome. Where is it? Is it, like, downtown Phoenix, or?
So this was at the Croc Center, yeah, in downtown Phoenix. I've never been to the Croc Center,
Mm.
so there's the Croc Center, and then there's the Host Hotel, probably a couple miles away. That's where you're gonna do your initial tanning, do your polygraph, and then at the actual Croc Center on Saturday, you go get your touch ups, oil, and all that stuff, and get ready to go on stage.
Wow. So how many months, have you been prepping for this? And, like, is there a time frame you're like, "Okay, now I'm starting bodybuilding prep," you know? So, like, 6 months
Yeah.
or.
Um, so I believe last year's show was it April? I believe it was April. Yeah, so it was April. So I want to say June, late June, start of July is when I started the bulk. From there, I was probably 150 pounds ish, somewhere in there. Started my bulk probably by the end of December, early January, I was over 200 pounds. And so from
Wow.
that point, I started to cut back down. So from there until now, I'm about 146, 148 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was the arc, man. I tell
Yeah.
you, that was the arc. And let me tell you, eating, a lot of people, and I was one of those guys. Oh, I eat a lot. I can't gain any weight. Oh yeah, I eat a lot. No, you really don't know what
You
you're eating
don't.
until you start tracking your food. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
To eat 5,000 calories, man, you are hurting.
That's a lot of food, yeah.
Yeah.
I I was one of those guys too. It's like, couldn't gain any weight as, but I also didn't track anything. And my dad was like, "Yeah, I grew up skinny too, and it's just how it is,
Yeah.
it's the metabolism." But it's like, no, if you start tracking and you eat enough,
Yeah.
like, you will gain weight.
Yeah, and you know what I tell people? I was like, I'm not immune to it. I was like, yeah, I could have done it. I guess eating 100% healthy, but I was like, I was a person who needed cheat meals. I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody. Like, I needed a few cheat meals in my day. As long as I didn't go crazy with it, and my whole entire day wasn't a cheat meal. Like,
Right.
yeah, if I had one or two cheat meals in there just to get me on that calorie mark, calories in versus calories out, man. That's what it
I
was.
know, yeah. Sometimes it's like, I'm low on calories. Costco pizza, hey, that's a lot of calories right there.
But yeah, as
Something.
long as you're not doing it, again, that's not your whole day, your whole diet,
Yeah.
and you're getting your
Don't do that
protein
every
in, like
day.
that's fine. You can have a cheat meal.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So it's like a whole year of prep then. It's just like.
Yeah. And I would tell people, just have a target date in mind. If there's a show, I mean, you can jump online to the natural shows, and unless you want to do the other ones, but you can see like how far out what you want to do and say, okay, I want to start prepping for this month next year. Just
Mhm.
have a certain day in mind that hey, this show is going to happen, and just start going after it. And days are going to get monotonous. It's going to get tiresome trying to stuff down food that
Mhm.
entire time, and you're going to get tired of it, and you're going to get tired of just the monotonies of the day. The day is the same. You're eating the same foods. You're doing the same lifts. You're kind of in a box because you're not worried about anybody else or what else is going on. You just got to stay focused. And sometimes it's
Right.
hard because people want to go out. People want to do things, and you're just like, I really can't. Like, I gotta stay focused.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest parts, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, and once you start getting to it, the months go by, and you won't notice a difference, but people will notice a difference. Either
Mm.
you're both like, oh man, you're gaining weight, or oh wow, you're really cutting. So it may not look like it because you're looking at yourself every single day in the mirror, but
Right.
it's definitely you're definitely making progress.
Mhm. Man, I think that, that's something that draws myself and probably a lot of people to, like, the fitness, space in general, and just being in the gym is like you put in effort and it's almost guaranteed, like, if you just keep showing up, like, you're gonna see results. It's not like, I don't know if you're starting a coffee shop or something there's so many other variables, but with like your fitness and getting in shape, it's like if I just get my nutrition dialed in and my training, like I'm gonna I'm gonna see results, which is pretty satisfying, I think.
Absolutely. And I think that's where it is. You just have to start. I think if most people just started, you started dialing on your diet and you started going to the gym, even if it was once or twice a week, or if you're just walking, like you would see a major difference,
Mm.
just in how people perceive you and yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like I just saw some friends um last weekend. It was like a birthday dinner. Everyone was like, "Wow, like you look so different," because they hadn't seen me since like I don't know December or January, and I was like, "I do. I think I look pretty much the same." Like so it's just like what you're talking about. Like we don't really notice it.
Now you're correct me if I'm wrong. You're on you do pull-ups, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing that right now. Yeah, it's
So what got you? Was that like a challenge or was that just something that you felt that would just give your body the best, optimal physique? Like what got you into that?
I think I came across this guy and he just finished it was like his Instagram reel and he was like, "This is the last day, day 100 of doing 100 muscle ups." And he had this like whole entourage of people with him. And then it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it was like 100 pull ups for 100 days. And I was like, wow, like muscle ups are hard. And he did 10,000 muscle ups. And then they brought out this cake and it was this whole thing. And I was just like, that's so interesting. I was like, I wonder why did he do that? And I was like, could I do something like that? Probably not muscle ups, but I think I could do pull ups.
Well, so-
And I was very apprehensive about it, whether it be something I could continue to the end, because like 100 pull ups, I don't think I've ever really, I don't know, done that. Or if I have, it's very spaced out. So yeah, it was just honestly like, let me see if I can do it. It wasn't linked to any sort of like outcome physically or aesthetically other than like let me see if my body can do it, and here we are. It's like I think this Thursday is day 100, so yeah.
man.
So we're almost
So
there.
you're at the end too. You have made
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So I got
My
a
gosh.
little over 3 months of just 100 pull-ups every day.
Okay. So what's the plan after? You gonna continue or just kind of start going back to the just hitting whatever?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna chill out on pull-ups for a little bit. If anything, like on my training, I do like weighted pull-ups instead of just like a ton of volume. But I do have like a half marathon coming up in November. It's like a Spartan race, but the distance happens to be a half marathon. I'm excited for that, but
Yeah.
that's yeah, I've never run a half marathon before, so I'll probably be implementing more running and then easing out on the pull-ups.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, those marathon, those Spartan races, man, more power to you because the stuff you got to do and just what I hear about those, man, yeah, that's another level right there. So maybe after bodybuilding, maybe I'll give it a shot.
it's a lot of fun. There's shorter ones. I think the shortest one is called a Spartan Sprint. It's like 5 miles or like a 5K or something like that. But it's also super positive. You'll have people go out there by themselves. You have people go out there for like team building, so they're there with like their family. And if you can't run up and grab on the slippery wall, you have people like hoisting each other. And even if you don't, like, you have strangers helping each other out. And so it's really positive community too. And
And see, that's a great thing about fitness. Doesn't matter if you're
yeah.
in a bike group or a running group or the gym group, like it's just everybody's just positive, all around because everybody's just better than themselves. You're just in a better space.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, anything you can do fitness wise, if you can get to any groups, I tell people definitely do it. Don't wait, start it.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. It's cool. I was just talking with somebody about this the other day. Like, there seems to be really like trending right now. All of the sort of like wellness things are on the rise, like cold plunging and sauna. Like, if you look at, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago and you're trying to find a place that has a cold plunge or a sauna, like,
Yeah.
it was like maybe a gym, but like very, very sparse. And now it's like you have like run clubs and you have like Spartan races, and bodybuilding is like very popular now. It didn't used to be as big, for sure.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is social media influencers. I think
Mhm.
people just going out there and documenting what can be and what you can do and
Yeah.
what's, healthy for you. And people are like, oh, Cold
No?
plunge, what's that? Oh, cold plunge, like, oh, you can actually, go do this stuff, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, it opens a lot of people's eyes, and people just, average guys doing different things are like, oh man, I can do that. You mean I can go do this? Like, okay. So yeah, man, wellness has definitely been on the rise because of that.
Yeah, it's really cool, and, because like you were talking about, it's anything fitness related is usually such a positive community, and so it's cool to see just all this popping up.
Okay. Even dance. I throw my plug in there
Yeah,
for
yeah.
dance. That's the very positive environment. Get out there and cut a rug and have some
Mhm.
fun and go to competitions. So that's all very very positive environment too. So I mean everything
Yeah,
is fun.
yeah. So how does that work? Like, I've heard that prepping for bodybuilding is kind of like a full-time job, but now you have your job that you do, you have your dance, you're in the gym training, you're cooking your meal preps. Like, do you feel like it's or how do you kind of balance like doing the dance and the bodybuilding, or do they kind of conflict sometimes?
They definitely kind of conflict sometimes. So, like, definitely when I'm going for a competition, bodybuilding competition, I will just say, hey, I'm not doing any more shows for dance. And
Mm,
I'll just kind of stop for a couple months, maybe 3 months out. But while I'm bulking and doing that stuff, doesn't really affect it that way. The things I just got to watch is, if I'm doing any type of lifts or anything like that with anybody, just make sure I don't, blow out a shoulder or anything like
yeah,
that.
don't get injured.
um, so I'll watch that stuff. As far as I try to stay very consistent with the meal preps, cooking my meals, what I'm going to be doing each day. And really because I'm not in the gym every single day, I'm more of just, I do 5 sets and then I'll take a day break when I'm cutting. If I'm not cutting, then I'll do, 72 hours off and then, go hit the gym after that. So I'm big into the, low volume and high intensity while I'm in the gym. That seems to work
Yeah,
out well for my body.
yeah, me too.
Um, and then that allows time for dancing, meal prep, and to do whatever I need to do. So, um,
Gotcha.
besides maybe a few months here and there of it conflicting, everything else seems to work out.
Mm. How was it in like December when you're like just in the middle, like peak bulk, you're like 200 pounds, and like then you go into dancing and it's very like fast paced. Like, was that a difficulty at all, or?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily a difficulty because the movements are kind of the same. The only thing that sucks about it is when you're changing your body weight that much, the clothes that you have for dance, like
Oh,
now you
right,
gotta
yeah,
like shift things, because dance is, you have the very
kind of
tight
like
clothing and
flashy,
things
like
like that.
yeah,
So when you weigh 200 pounds, I'm like, oh man, this stuff doesn't fit anymore. I can't even get on this.
yeah, yeah.
Versus now, like, okay, everything fits. So
Mm,
that's the main aggravating point is just like, okay, man, now I got to freaking, buy another freaking $1,600 fit because the one I
wow.
have doesn't freaking work. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's what's annoying about it. But no, as far as the dance moves, each dance is, I don't know, 30 seconds, 40 seconds long. So,
Okay.
there's no getting windy or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'll go on a run sometimes now, and like over the past few months I've put on like 10, 15 pounds, and now I'm like I go on a run and I went with my buddy and he checked his heart rate on his watch and he's like, "Oh, I'm at this." And I looked at mine and I was like, "Mine's kind of high. Like maybe it's cuz I put on like extra weight. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
panting over here."
You can feel the 10 pounds, man. Especially if you haven't been running or doing anything like that. I was into CrossFit for a while there.
Okay.
And man,
That's intense.
that was intense and that was hard on the body. But man, I had some wind. I had endurance.
I bet. Yeah. I
It
go ham.
definitely gives that to you. But as far as looking any different or anything like that, I don't think you notice the difference that way. You just have incredible wind,
Yeah.
incredible wind.
Endurance and strength are definitely there.
Yeah, I was never really a fan of kettlebell work or you know, yeah, toes the bar and things like that. But man, I started doing that stuff and just I was like, man, my arms are gonna fall off, my legs are gonna die.
Yeah.
Assault bikes, like what? I was done.
Yeah, I think I was like in high school and my dad was getting into CrossFit And he's like, "Yeah, come do like a workout with us." And I had an asthma attack or something. I was like, "I'll be over here by the
Yeah.
wall, just like trying to breathe."
Right. Yeah, it's no joke, man. No
Yeah.
joke. But hey, if you could do it, more power to you. And
Yeah.
big ups to those guys who do those CrossFit championships because that's something else, man. When you watch that stuff,
Yeah, it's just a different category. They can do a lot of stuff that I cannot do.
yeah,
Respect.
yeah. I'll pass. I'm
Yeah.
good. I've had my
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Have you seen like High Rocks? It's been getting kind of popular. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't. What's that?
It's HYROX. I guess it looks similar to the outsider. It looks similar to CrossFit. So they have like competitions and stuff, but it's instead of CrossFit games, like you don't really know the exact like layout of the competition right until like right before. But I guess High Rocks, it's always the same thing. It's standardized wherever you go. So you
Okay.
go, you can either do like by yourself or with a partner, and you're just basically going to get a better time than you did the last time. But it's like it's got like the ski machine, it's got a sled pull and push. There's like no Olympic lifting or handstand stuff like CrossFit, so it's like the barrier to entry is a little lower. But yeah, that's been kind of blown up lately, and
Yeah,
so
I can definitely see why.
yeah,
Again, people just trying to better themselves, and maybe if you're trying to take that step to CrossFit, this is something that can kind of get you to that stepping stone. So yeah, I can definitely see it, man. But I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see what that's all about.
yeah, yeah. I tried to see if there was like a High Rocks gym in Phoenix, and it seems like it's kind of varies city to city, and there's some like functional fitness gyms, like not the warehouse ones, but some of the studios they're starting to offer like, hey, if you want to do High Rocks, like we are now offering a class for that, and so
Oh,
it's coming. But
okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
did you play any sports like growing up, or what did it look like throughout your childhood? Were you active, or was there like a change as you got older, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so very active. So I started. My family was big into track and field.
Mm,
So I was always chasing my dad, and I was always chasing my uncles because they had records at the high school for 200, 400 meters, and I had always wanted to go to the Olympics.
mm,
So I used to watch, Carl Lewis, Michael Johnson, in the gold shoes, running the 400, just like blistering people. And I used to watch that before every track meet. So yeah, I started young, started doing track meets young, got into football. Um, Kind of that and track and field was my main thing. I did city track. Um, I was very, very invested in that. Wasn't really had a didn't really have a decent training as far as how to go about it. I mean, I had high school coaches, but I
yeah,
don't think as far as the track and field aspect, I was probably getting the best
yeah,
there was out there. And as far as nutrition, and I grew up poor too, so it wasn't like I was, getting protein and all this stuff in my body. So it was
yeah.
just at the time, just genetics and pure athleticism. Um, so as I went through high school, um, my, I guess, biggest accomplishment there um, is I went to the Junior Olympics
Okay, wow.
and I ended up, well, I think I ended up placing either fifth or fourth in the 200 meters. And,
Dang.
it's against these are against, the kids who are again Junior Olympics and, everybody's going after it. So I was like, all right, I'm Olympic bound and, I want to do something and let's see if I can make it. And then in high school, I had an issue with the coach to where he ended up picking somebody to go to a state position over me in our 4x4. It didn't sit well with me. So I set out my senior year and unfortunately, but fortunately, I should say, ended up talking to a recruiter and then going to the Marine Corps. So
Okay.
I kind of left that, went to the Marine Corps on the whim that I can play sports, but that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And just kind of left it at that. So yeah, man, I was always active. I always played a lot of sports. I love being active. I mean, all we did was, just playing tennis, playing basketball, doing all that stuff. So yeah, man, very, very active growing up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I grew up kind of similar, like in a track and field family. My dad did track and field. I did it, my brother. Um, you said 200 to 400 was your main events?
Yeah, 200 and 400. 400 was my jam, man. I felt like that was the test for me.
Mm.
Um,
That's a
Couldn't
hard
break
run.
50. I think I got about 52 seconds was probably my fastest.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it damn near killed me. That was,
Yeah.
dude, I tell you, the 400 is something different.
Yeah, they like I usually did the 1 and 200, and then I think one of the meets my coach was like, "Hey, why don't you try out the 400?" And I was like, "Okay." Like I never trained for it. They were just like, "Yeah, just jump in there." And I was like, probably didn't help that it was super windy that day, and I was
Yeah,
like, I was this tiny skinny kid, and I was like, "I'm gonna leave my jacket on," and it
right.
kind of acted as like a parachute, and I was just like, it was just pulling me
Yeah.
back, and
You're
but
like, all right, we're not doing that again.
yeah, I got to the 200 mark and then just legs were lead and I was just probably I
Yeah.
think I was dead last, but I was like, I'm not doing that again. They're
But
like,
I think that's
yeah,
what I liked about the sport to begin with. I felt like my high school, we weren't very good at team sports, but I think if it was like individual things like track and field, I think that's where, people kind of shined.
yeah,
So I think that's what kind of drew me to it is just like, okay, it's more of like a mano thing,
mhm,
you don't have to rely on anybody else. This is just you, your
and you,
training, what you put into it against the next person.
yeah,
Let's see what happens.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
and I just, I enjoyed, every minute of it. And, you know, I do look back on it and say, man, was there a chance, could I have, made it to the Olympics? And, you always just kind of think in the back of your head,
yeah,
like, man, that would
what
have
if
been a cool moment, but things happen for a reason.
yeah. I mean, making it to the Junior Olympics, that's a big deal too, right?
Yeah. But I mean, so on the city side, it's a little bit different when you do the city sports and don't get me wrong, everybody there who I was competing against, was definitely top tier. We
Mhm.
all knew what high schools we went to. We all knew when we seen each other at time, like, okay, I know where you at. I know you've been there. So,
Yeah.
you knew who the fast guys were, and who you had to worry about. So, but yeah, making it to the Junior Olympics, running in that, yeah, that was something that the team and shout out to the Desert Eagles and Casa Grande, that, um, that we love. We loved every moment of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's kind of cool. It's like you said, it's sort of a solo performance sport, but at the same time, like at the end of the meet, it's like you still have a school that like wins based on the points or whatever. So you kind of even when you're not performing, I like to just stand on the sidelines and root for my friends when they're running the different things or doing the high jump or whatever. So
Right.
it's fun that way.
Yeah. 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 I done high jump. I did long jump too. And
Okay.
oh man, what was the highest you ever? You said you did high jump?
No, I had friends that did high jump. I did pole vault and hurdles.
I tried pole vault one time and I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over this. I was like, man, this thing is gonna break.
I know. It's yeah. I joined it because my dad did pole vault in high school and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to do it." And I had a friend who was a gymnast, so he was just like ballerina over the bar, just effortless. And I was honestly like I don't think I competed in a meet once because they were like you have to get over 8 feet in practice to compete at a meet and I could never do it.
Just couldn't
But
do it. Yeah.
it's tough, but I was there every practice, trying to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, don't blame me on that, and you give it a shot. And sometimes it's like, nah, I'm not doing this, or this is
Yeah,
not meant for me.
yeah, not built for it, I guess.
But yeah, it was dope though. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was good.
Yeah. How what was your height with high jump?
What I get to? I think I probably cleared 5'11". I don't think I ever cleared 6 foot.
Okay.
And the reason I think that derailed me is I had my appendix taken out at an early age. So they would show me pictures and they'd be like, you see how everybody's kind of curving over the bar? You kind of have like you know, a square thing going on where you kind of just over the
Uh,
bar. So I would just clip it because my abdominals I didn't have that bend.
hmm,
So I think that kind of hindered my high jumping ability. So yeah,
interesting.
I was out.
Yeah. I would never think that the appendix would kind of like mess with that.
Yeah. And I would say that it probably wouldn't have if I would have like stretched out and like been
Mm,
more consistent at, doing ab exercises and just making
mm,
sure I was flexible. But my main focus was the 400 and 200. And this was kind of
Yeah.
just like you said, hey, you can do 3 sports or you can do 3 events. Go do high jump, get
Yeah,
third
go do
place,
some, yeah.
get some points. You know?
Yeah, yeah. That's cool, and then you went into the Marines. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So went in at 2004, December 2004 is when I went in. Um, Ended up going in as a 0341, which is, motorman, dropping motors. So uh, 81s is the platoon that I went to. So 1-4 Weapons Company. Shout out to 1-4 Weapons Company. Rah, rah, fuck it, as we'd say. um, it was, I would definitely say it was a school of hard knocks. We had
Mm,
a senior platoon that was, just getting back from a whole bunch of fighting, and they had lost some people, which they were very, very aggravated at that.
mm,
A lot of them wanted to go back and return the favor, if you
yeah,
will. And we were kind of just the boots who were kind of right in the middle of that. So
mhm,
life was not easy for us. But I think the whole purpose and goal was to make sure that we were ready and that we wouldn't have any more casualties as
right.
we did our thing. So I did 2 tours. Um,
Oh, wow.
First one, we were on a MU, they call it a Westpac. So you go to basically different countries before you end up in Kuwait and Iraq. And then the next time we ended up flying straight over, going into Al Anbar Providence at that time. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, man, it was a good thing. And, I'm happy I did it. I'm glad I did it. Very, very thankful for being able to serve the country. Um,
Yeah,
people tell you, war's not glorious. There's nothing to gloat about. There's nothing to really like, oh my God, like no, it's not that, man. Because when you see
mm,
it, when you get over there and you realize what it is, like there's no there's,
yeah,
there's no being happy about any of that.
yeah,
you know.
man.
But we did our thing. We had fun. I got some good brothers that friends for life.
Yeah,
And it doesn't matter
love
if we ain't
that.
talked for years. They can call me up and we'll talk like it was just yesterday, man.
Right, that's what I've heard.
I would say, um, just the camaraderie that you have, man,
Yeah,
matter of fact, I was talking to one of my guys the other day, from the Marines, and we were just talking about, you know, eating pizza and playing Smash Brothers. Back in the barracks,
yep,
just having a good time, man. Because I mean, that's what you do, man. You just have a good time, and you're talking trash, and you're enjoying time with the boys, man. And you know, it has an effect on people when you leave, man. And it's just like everybody goes back to their states, their cities, and you don't
yep,
have that anymore, man. And it really affects people very negatively sometimes.
yeah. Especially probably folks that come from, like, a lot of instability, and then they go, and then they have structure, and then they go back to the instability. It's
Yeah.
kinda like whiplash.
Yeah, you become institutionalized. I mean, it's kind of what it is. I mean, you get told, where you're going to be, what you're going to eat, to be here at this time, this is the type of training you're doing. I mean, your days pretty much ran besides your weekends, you going out on liberty and doing whatever before you have to be back, that Sunday
Yeah,
afternoon or Monday morning. Everything is structured. It's structured, structured, structured. Like, hey, as soon as you get off, doing what you got to do, you're back in the barracks playing with your boys and, doing what you got to do and, having fun, drinking beers, whatever the case may be. And then it's on to the next day and you guys are just kind of embracing the suck together for whatever the next day comes. Cause like I said, some days are rougher than others. And you just kind of go through it and then you get out. And it's like, is somebody telling me what to do? Or,
yeah,
I can't really just talk to nobody. I can't go talk, knock on somebody's door and say, "Hey, man, what's up?" Like it's not that anymore, and it just
mm.
throws you for a loop.
Yeah, yeah. So you said, was it motor dropping? Like, I'm not familiar with that. What does that
Yeah,
entail?
so it's the 81 millimeter motor. Basically, it's the tube, and then you have the 81 millimeter missile, if you will, itself.
Mm,
So basically, you drop it down a tube, and it goes, and you're firing that on the enemy.
mm,
So basically what happens is we had a gun line is what they call it. And we had 8 guns on our line. Typically the center guns are the ones that are doing the adjusting. So you'll have forward observers who are out there. You'll get everything set up. You'll drop your first round, and your forward observer will tell you, like, hey, you're so many yards off, from the enemy. You need to adjust. They will give you coordinates that goes back to your fire direction center. They'll plug in the numbers. They'll put that into gun language for the gun line. Your center gun will then shoot again. And if they're on target, they'll give the rest of the gun line their target or their numbers, and they'll do a fire for effect. And, that is supposed to, eliminate the enemy.
Gotcha. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I was reading Extreme Ownership by Jocko, and just like the
Good
amount
book.
of communication and like everything that he goes into detail about, like the front lines and stuff is like you're talking about. One guy tell you coordinates, and then this guy tells that guy, and it's just like so much organization and communication.
Yeah. And
Gotcha.
again, it's leadership at the lowest levels. Everybody is depending on, that next person to do their job,
Yeah.
do what they need to do. So if I'm the gunner on the gun line and I don't get the coordinates right, or the A gunner doesn't set up on the aiming sticks right, or the ammo guy is not freaking has a round ready, or the fire direction center has the wrong coordinates, or the freaking forward observer freaking gives you wrong like, I mean, there's just so many things that can go wrong, but everybody has
Yeah.
to be dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that for 4 years, man, 4 years, and again, thankful for every moment of it, thankful for the bonds that I built, and wouldn't change none of that for the world.
Yeah. For sure. I kind of sometimes I wish I would have gone into the military. I wanted to do the Air Force because I was just obsessed with like fighter jets for
Yeah,
a while. I was like, I want to do that.
yeah,
Um and I guess I heard that if you have any sort of like asthma or corrective lenses, it was like no fighter jets for you.
right.
So it's like, ah, bummer.
I will say this much. I know there are quite a few people. So when you go down to call it MEPS, and it's like your, I don't know, I guess your pre-physical exam before you go into the military, and you have all these guys there. Everybody's standing around in their underwear. Everybody's sizing each other up. Okay, this guy's going to the Navy. This guy's going to the Army. This dude's going to the Air Force. Let me tell you something. I know some people flat out lied. I'm like, hey man, I probably shouldn't have got this job, but I didn't tell him that I had this and that, and I'm not going to tell him I got asthma. I'm going to roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
And people roll with it, and hey, people didn't buy stuff, and they kept it moving, man. So,
Yeah.
I find that funny, man. Yeah.
That's funny, yeah. I haven't thought of that. I guess it's, well, easier to hide like asthma than like glasses or something, unless you have contacts. But
No, man, you would have been. So when I was on ship, we were on what do they call it? I guess an aircraft carrier, and we had the jets right on the top of the flight deck, and those guys would just come, running missions, coming back, and you can sit up there, at different ports of the ship and just kind of see them, hitting that rubber band on the ground, and then
yeah,
stopping or taking off, and it's pretty surreal, man. And some of the guys got voluntold, if you will, to go up there and work the flight deck and kind of be part of the crew up there to, make sure they're running those ropes and bungee cords and making sure they're getting everything set up. So, I mean, to actually see a fighter jet like up close and just hear the sound of it, you're just
yeah,
like, man, like this is something insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of just
Yeah, man. So again,
yeah,
like I said, a lot of things that I saw, a lot of experiences, man. Just them running their night ops too. Like, I mean, just
mm,
there's a lot of things that I think I got to experience that maybe I take for granted. Except when I have these conversations now, I think about it, I'm like, man, that was actually pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I used to just watch like military documentaries all the time and stuff about jets, stuff about what does basic boot camp look like. So yeah, sometimes I think about it. I'm like, man, what if I went into the military? But now I'm like 27, so should have sailed.
Yeah, I definitely think you have to do it while you're that 18, 19, 20, and
Yeah.
I don't know what anybody else's situation was, but like I told you, I grew up kind of poor. So for me, the idea of having 3 square meals a day, maybe getting some money for college,
Mhm.
being able to travel, not being in a small city that I was in, that all was appealing to me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just made a decision because I said, you know what? At the time, I'm sitting there at at a food city roasting chilies, and I'm like, okay, either I'm going to college and I don't really know what I'm going to do, or I can actually do something meaningful and actually, hopefully when I get out, I'll know what I want to do. So, and it turns out
Yeah.
that was a good choice.
Yeah, definitely. Man, do you have any like people that any brothers that you served with that are kind of close nearby that you see?
So I have one dad that just recently moved to Arizona, Lake Havasu,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
ways out, but
Yeah.
still fairly close. But everybody else, man, it is literally like I said, man. I've got people in California, Wisconsin, Chicago. We may keep in touch over social media, but that's about it, man.
Right. Yeah. No,
But
that's cool.
still, like I said, all close nonetheless. But still, I'd pick up the phone and we still chop it up like it was yesterday. So
Yeah. And if you're ever
just
visiting any of those cities, you can just be like, "Yo, let's grab some dinner, grab some pizza, whatever."
And I think now as I get to that point in my life, I think that is definitely something that's in the cards. Just taking those opportunities because honestly, man, you never know. Tomorrow's not promised, and I think that would uh, make a lot of people's day. Especially if you kind of got the means to make the trip
Yeah.
and meet with some of these guys and catch up. It'll mean the world to a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that that's something I'm realizing a little bit more as I get older, being 27. It's just like experiences and memories with people. That's what matters most.
Yeah.
So,
You only got one life, man, and you got to take advantage of it. Obviously, I tell people to live within their means, but if you're not doing the things that you love, or giving it a shot, like for instance, uh, just oh heck, what was it? Maybe 2 months ago, we got back from New York, and I ended up winning the dance competition down there for our solo routine for the Wild Wild West routine.
okay.
And, that was a national competition. So I
Wow.
had never been to New York, didn't know anything about being in Times Square or anything like that. It was definitely a journey, but the memories, the moments, and, being able to say that, hey, I was able to take home a championship for Gilbert here.
Yep. National.
It was just fantastic. So moments, man.
That's crazy. How is New York? I haven't been there before. Did anything like surprise you? Or,
So I had heard about how bad the driving was.
yeah.
But I don't think I was necessarily prepared for that. The driving was absolutely insane. I feel like we were going to get into a wreck every single time we stepped into a cab or an Uber,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. It was just so wild.
Just
Um,
like super aggressive, like bumper to bumper.
Very aggressive. Like, I mean, you have to be on the money. Like, as soon as you ready, foot on the gas, just ready to go. Another thing that kind of surprised me was I didn't realize. I mean, you see it kind of on TV from time to time, but just how busy Times Square is, man.
Uh,
It is a madhouse. There is so much traffic, people moving, back and forth. And depending on what night it is, they close down the streets and there's could be different events going on. So it is just lively and happening, like 24/7.
wow.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the two things I would say that definitely most shocked me.
Yeah. Yeah, that car thing sounds kinda stressful, but I mean, I guess that's the only way to get around unless you're doing, like, the subways or whatever.
Yeah, and I didn't go to any of the subways. Um, I did have a chance to uh, go to the 9/11 memorial, and
Mm, yeah.
that was pretty sombering.
Uh,
Because in my head, when I was a child in high school, I seen the Twin Towers, planes flying into the Twin Towers and, the fall. And at the time, I didn't know what Twin Towers was. Like, I was like,
yeah.
there's like, hey, buildings falling, there's Twin Towers. I was like, what is that? Like, skyscrapers? Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah.
what is happening here? You see people just running out of tunnels and just the
Wow.
chaos. And then you go there and it's like nothing ever happened, man. It's just like you see the emotion in the air. Just people who remember what it was and what had happened that day. And it is just a very it's a very sombering,
Mhm.
emotional spot, man. It's something to see.
Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna have to if I'm ever in New York or whenever I am, I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, you'll definitely you'll feel it as soon as you get there, man.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a fountain or something, and it kinda goes down, right?
Yeah, so they have 2 of them where the trade centers used to be, and they turned into pretty much what you say, like a water fountain, and they have all the names of any firefighters, police or officers, or first responders,
Right.
like, I guess anybody who can find who went in. I think some of the bricks are engraved too with names as well. So they did a really, really nice job, just creating the memory. I think everything there is, free. It's all through they just ask people to donate.
Yeah.
Through various ways throughout there, and it keeps the park clean, and everybody's there just to remember and um you know give their condolences.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
Very yeah.
I
Wow.
will say it's something I definitely probably won't forget. It's just something you don't forget.
Yeah. Never forget, as they say. Yeah. So, what, what are your goals for maybe, like, long term? Do you wanna keep doing bodybuilding and dancing or, do you have any I know some people that are like, "I wanna run a marathon before I die. I wanna do this," Do you have any, like, bucket list things that you wanna do or
That's a good question. That's a real good question. um I think right now my future goals is I definitely want to improve on some of my dance things. I definitely want to see if, in that realm, if I can be more competitive and formidable, and just open up more of my dance skills and learn new dances, because it is very difficult,
Um,
um, to do those things and be competitive in those things. So I definitely want to do that on the dance side. On the bodybuilding side, I guess it kind of depends on what this competition, goes. It's a lot, as I said, when you talk
yeah.
about the grind of doing this, it's a lot. It's expensive. It's,
Right.
food wise, trying to eat healthy all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
just kind of isolating yourself from things. So, um, at face value, I'll tell you, I'm probably looking just to probably gain weight casually, not like do a hardcore bulk, but just more now enjoying the gym and kind of enjoying some of the foods that I'm eating. I don't think I'm gonna do anything bodybuilding wise, maybe at face value that I'm thinking in my head now that I'm coming to an end on this. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, not trying to get, like, the pro card or whatever.
All right. Now if I end up, for whatever reason, some crazy reason, being that better or good than everybody, then I guess. But at the moment right now, I don't think that's in my head. Um I think I just wanna mainly my goal is just nutrition wise. I would say it's more nutrition than lifting than anything. I just want to make sure that I'm filling my body with the proper foods, with the proper fuel, just kind of pushing away the junk. I think that's more
Mm.
of my main concern. I'm 39, I'll be 40 this year. So just kind of keeping that mentality just so, I live a long, healthy, happy life.
Yeah, yeah, so kinda pivot to more, like, longevity and
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I said, more of the wellness stuff, definitely more of the cold plunges and, chiropractic stuff, and just making sure the body feels good at this point.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like, a lot of the people that I know that are big into, like, lifting and lifting heavy or bodybuilding, it's like stretching is and mobility is way back here on the priorities list, but,
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of have to be flexible and have that mobility to do what you do with dancing, and
Yeah.
so that's good because you have that helps with your longevity in general too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And uh again, like you said, stretching, mobility, that's another big thing that people just don't do, very often. That's very
Yeah.
good. I've started, just this year, at the bare minimum, because it's where I can find the time, just trying to stretch at least for 30 minutes, 40 minutes before I go to bed.
Right.
just to kind of get that routine in and get some mobility in. Because again, it's not done enough. And if you're just going to the gym and, squatting freaking, 300, 400 pounds, man, that's, it's going to jack you up, man.
Yeah, over time for sure.
So yeah, I think again, my goal, longevity, more nutrition, just trying to make people more aware. I think that on the fitness side of things, that if I can help people just get to a starting point and help them start and give them maybe tools to succeed as far as going forward, you know, I think that'll go a long way. I don't think I need to, hey, you need to be on a maintenance plan or anything like that. I think for
Yeah.
me, if I can just see somebody get off to a good start, get some good tools, I think they'll see enough progress that they'll be able to continue. And because you got to figure out your own body, everybody's
Yeah.
body's different. You know,
Yeah.
what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for the next guy. So you
Yeah.
gotta take that time to kind of figure out like, okay, these foods agree with my body. These foods don't agree with my body. These
Mhm.
workouts work with my body. These workouts don't work with my body. You just gotta figure that stuff out.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Yeah, and it's super true about like the food thing and different workouts. I've kind of stopped doing a lot of just flat barbell bench press. 'Cause it messes up my left shoulder. I feel like a lot of people has that same issue with the left shoulder on the
Yeah.
bench press. So now it's just like incline dumbbells for chest mainly.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And there's a lot of, again, there's a lot of people in the fitness space, and there's a lot of people who say a lot of things,
Yep.
and I wouldn't, you know, again, I would take a lot of, but what everybody says with a grain of salt. You go in the gym and you find out what works best for you. If you
Mm.
see something that somebody says and that doesn't work for you, don't try to force it. Everybody's body is just put together just a little bit differently. So, you
Yeah.
know, like you said, man, the barbell bench press, yeah, I stay away from that. The period. I don't do flat bench. If I'm
Mm.
doing dumbbells, great, I'll do that all day long.
Yeah.
Because that again, that left shoulder pain, man.
Yeah. What about like nutrition wise? I feel like a lot of people I talk to, their main thing is like, I don't know what to eat or I can't get enough protein. If you had to talk to somebody who was like kind of newer on their fitness journey, what would you tell them? Or maybe what would you tell yourself before you kind of got your nutrition dialed in? Like a couple just like good pointers.
Um, Number one, I would get yourself a food scale and download an app, whether that's My Fitness Pal or one of the other apps out there to be able to track everything.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say, just so you know for yourself, just track everything that you eat for a week basis, just so you know.
Yeah.
And that way, that'll give you an accurate assessment that it'll show you that you're probably more likely not getting enough protein in your diet. You're probably, having way too much fat or whatever the case may be in your diet, and you can kind of start to see where you can dial back things. So that'd probably be number one.
Hmm.
And number two is, I think the meal split and protein split, if I will. I would probably put somebody on probably 4 to 5 meals a day to eat. And I would try to say, make sure you're getting at least 20 grams, 25 grams of protein for somebody who's just starting.
Yeah.
If you can get over 100 grams of protein and you're just starting, I think that's fairly good for anybody. Now, anybody who's lifting and doing that stuff, yeah, you're going to want that gram per pound, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can get that. But anybody who's starting, again, someone
Mhm.
who's just starting and who can't maybe eat that much protein in one sitting, you're gonna have to work your way up to it.
Right.
You just are. Not everybody drinks raw eggs or, like I do, and egg
Yeah.
whites, straight from the freaking tap, you to get their protein. Not everybody used to
Yeah.
that. Not everybody wants to eat ground beef, just as ground beef. So you
Yeah.
have to find some unique ways. And, if that's protein shakes and doing some different things, that's okay to start with. Again,
Mhm.
I know people are like, oh, I don't, you got to eat the whole, I get it, but you're just starting. You
Yeah.
have to find a good starting point, and then you can kind of wean off and figure out what works for your body. So those probably the two major things: your food scale, getting an app to track your stuff, and then the meals you're eating and the protein intake that you're having per those meals.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with all that. That's good stuff. And yeah, I want to be respectful of your time and your evening and just acknowledge you here for a second. You have accomplished a lot. You've won national competitions. You know, you've served in the Marine Corps. You've done a lot, and you're kicking butt. You got the bodybuilding show this weekend,
Yep,
so you got a lot going on. It's exciting, and so I'm glad we could have you on the show here to share your story. I know that a lot of people that maybe came from a similar background be able to relate to that, and that your story will be able to inspire them to make better decisions with their health and their fitness or whatever that might be. So thank you again for coming on the show, Marcus.
absolutely. Thank you too. And again, my one word of advice to everybody out there, just start. There's nothing holding you back. All you have to do is start.
Yep.
And that's it. So again, man, thank you so much and appreciate it anytime. Let me know when you want me to come down. I'll be your first guest in studio.
Love it. Yeah, definitely. That'd be great. But
Absolutely.
awesome, man. Oh,
Yeah, perfect, man. Again, just thank you for having me, man. And I'm up for it. And I'll reach out to you after the competition.
yeah, definitely. Best of luck, man.
Absolutely. All right, man.